I suppose only one of the top 100 funds eked out any sort of positive performance, and that was a money market fund. And if memory serves, it got a return of about 0.06% over the course of the past year, which is not bad. But I think if you dig a bit deeper below that, it was interesting to see that these ESG funds, at least the actively managed ones, had actually done quite well compared to their benchmarks. Now, that's some consolation, but not very good. I mean, their average benchmark was down about 18%, and they were only down about 17%. So that's pretty good performance compared to the benchmark, outperformed by over 1%. But it was a very, very bad year for ESG funds, as it was for all funds around the world.
That's the benchmark. It's always been a wonderful question for me when, oh, well, we outperformed our benchmark by 0.067%, so we are very worthy of your extra funds you're going to pay us this year. Who sets these benchmarks?
Well, the biggest provider by far is MSCI. So the bulk of them actually track MSCI indices. And that's in part, it's a bit incestuous. The biggest manager of funds in the ESG space is BlackRock, and BlackRock is a large owner of MSCI, and they choose their indices and their data to actually manage the funds. But it's MSCI in large part that sort of sets it. There's a bunch of funds that just track regular indices like the S&P 500 or other MSCI indices, but by and large they track MSCI ESG funds that basically has a lock on that market. They provide basically the indices to over 60% of the top 100.
So what would you recommend for our investing audience who obviously are looking at these funds and they may be thinking about wanting to own them with their heart, but because they watch this channel, they think with their head? Should they be in ESG funds for 2023?
Well, I suppose the only kind of funds that I think are really interesting, I think there's going to be ongoing pressure on the markets. I think this good news that we've seen come out recently is actually going to turn out to be bad news as central banks say, okay, we have to carry on increasing interest rates and putting more pressure on the markets. So the best place to be, basically, in my mind, is ETFs if you're going to be in funds that are in bonds and very, very short dated funds where you don't have much exposure to increasing interest rates. And that, I think, is the best place to be. And that happens to be the one fund that had a positive return in this basket. But you point out, yes, that most of the people investing in these things at least have something in addition to financial performance and returns on their mind. So they're not exclusively focused on that, but reality is you must be focused on that. You have to be focused on the returns you're generating. Otherwise, you'll end up running out of money.